everyone. So I hope everyone's doing okay with school and really pushing through. But speaking of school, have you ever gotten so tired and frustrated that you ever just wanted to just drop it all and take a break from school? Maybe get some traveling in, just relax and all that good stuff. Well, then taking a gap year is just for you. I myself have felt this numerous amounts of times. I felt the need to just want to just stop school, and I've even considered taking a year off before going into the next semester of school. But taking a gap year is frowned upon because it makes the student seem lazier and uninterested. But I'm here to tell you today that taking a gap year either before college or during college, it's okay, and there's actually benefits that come along with it. So first, I'm going to be talking to you about the problems that come with taking a gap year off. Second, I'm going to talk to you about the solutions or ways that you can use this time off from school. And third, I'm going to talk to you about the benefits that come along with taking a gap year. So first, let's get into why people think taking a gap year isn't such a good idea. One problem with taking a gap year is that students lose the drive or the want and maybe even the need to go back to school. And as many students depart from 12 plus years of schooling and decide to take this year off, once they have to go back to school, they've already formed a sort of new routine in their lives, and inputting school in that new routine just makes it even harder. And LG from Vitana.org says, even though up to 90% of students will return to their educational pursuits after taking a gap year, there is an important 10% that does not. And another problem with taking a gap year is that it could be expensive. So referencing the same source, they said, if a gap year involves travel and exploration, then the cost of the experience may be just as high, if not higher, than the cost of the tuition they would have paid as a student. So this means that if the student were to take the gap year and were to travel, then they can rack up debt, which means that they would have to take out student loans in order to pay for college. So it's just a lot of money that's involved, and that's why it's hard to do a gap year sometimes. But those are just some of the minor cons that come with taking a gap year. But now let's get some of the solutions or ways you can spend this time off. Taking a gap year doesn't mean you just sit around all day doing nothing. It's meant to be productive and maybe sneak a little nap or two in there. But a solution to spending your time off at home or not at home is to go out and travel, serve your community, maybe learn a new language. There's really just countless ideas and ways you can spend this time off. And most students use this time to travel. It's actually one of the number one reasons students take gap years off is the want or the need to go travel and see the world. But actually some other students use this time off to learn how to do basic adult stuff. And I know that sounds funny, but some students don't know how to wash their clothes, they don't know how to cook, so they can use this time to learn from their parents. And David A. Tomar from bestschools.org says, go for a cross-country drive, participate in programs abroad, pick a destination based on your intended career, or pick a destination based on whimsy. Traveling abroad is hands down one of the best experiences a student could go on, and it just really broadens your horizons. And we live in such a big world with so many amazing countries, so why not go out and explore it? And LG from Vitana.org mentions that a gap year could help you learn how to handle the various stresses you encounter from finding a job to managing a budget. So like I mentioned before, having a gap year means that the student or the individual can learn from the parent. They can learn how to wash your clothes, cook, clean, do all that stuff. It's that time off that they really get to learn from their parents. So now that I told you about the problems and some solutions or ways you can spend your gap year, let's get into the benefits of taking your time off. And according to Gap at glenbrook.org, they said there's over 40 benefits of taking a gap year, with some of those being self-reflection, figuring out what you want to do with your life, and even saving / building up money to pay for college. And one solution that I mentioned before was to travel. So when you travel, you meet really incredible people and you see amazing places. So for example, Gap at glenbrook.org says you will make deep, meaningful relationships, the ones with people you gotten to know as your authentic self, people with whom you shared wild experiences and grown from them. when you travel, you do meet people that you've never met before. You can meet people who have had different lifestyles from yours, and they get to share that with you and you learn about them. Or you can even meet people from the same area as you that you didn't even know before. And program advice from yearoutgroup.org also says that another benefit of taking a gap year is that 90% of the students who originally intended to go to university on their return do so. So this becomes a huge sense of relief for the parents and the students. Taking a gap year doesn't mean that your education career is over necessarily. It just means you're getting recharged and getting the want to go back to school. So I just wanted to show you a graph by NYU, and it's called Gap Year Motivations. So the yellow is going to be personal reasons, blue is going to be academic, pink career, and green other. So as you can see, the yellow is at the top, and it's over 90% of people ages 18 to 60 years old chose to take a gap year for personal reasons. So personal reasons could be that they couldn't afford college, they decided to just take a break, maybe travel, that sort of stuff. And then here, blue is one of the second reasons for gap years, and that's academic. So maybe they just wanted a break from school. So that could be an academic reason, or maybe they couldn't get a scholarship they needed to pay for school. So that's just a graph that shows reasons for gap year motivations, as it says. So I just wanted to wrap it up, and now that we talked about the problems, the solutions, and the benefits, I just want to remind you that if you do decide to take a gap year before attending college or even during college, there are multiple benefits that will result in your time off of school. And to reiterate, I talked about the problems of taking a gap year, the solutions and ways to spend this time off, and third, I talked about the benefits that come along with it. Taking a gap year is okay. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. We live in a society that pushes the idea of getting an education. But if you do want to take a gap year, do it. School isn't going anywhere. So thank you all for listening. I hope you have a nice day and keep pushing through with school.